top drivers are on hand for the first $5,000 payday of 1989. One of Dirt's hottest drivers, Brett Hearn, jumped out front at the start of the race, driving the Freightliner Trucking number 6. Behind him, Alan Johnson was back in the action after recovering from his incidents at Canandaigua the night before, racing with his brother Danny, while Dave Lape in the Fred Burroughs number 22 was catching them. Billy Decker in the Wheels Discount Auto Supply Store's number 91 would eventually drop out. You will see why later. Jack Johnson was also a contender. Along with these runners, Bob McCready, Doug Hoffmann, and Kenny Tremont were all on hand. Tremont is driving car number 87, the same car he drove in the National Auto Supply Championship in October at Syracuse in 1988. You'll see Hoffmann and McCready working their way through the field, but the first casualty of the night would be Kenny Brightbill and Doug Hoffmann, involved in this backstretch incident, both drivers out of the action. The next two drivers out of the race, Scott Wood and Pat Ward, into the wall in the front stretch. Jack Johnson looked as strong as he did in Florida and Texas, the first time he's looked really good up north this season. Johnson would end up third at the end of the race. Fred Cade also looked strong, racing here with last week's driver of the week, Jeff Trombley, in car number 21J. Steve Payne dropped out, sending Alan Johnson into a near spin, but the class of the field was Brett Hearn.
Every time we made a move on the track, Danny seemed to counter that with something else, so it was a lap-by-lap thrash. I was telling Brett exactly where Danny was the whole time, and I feel like I ran 100 laps with him. I'm tired.
While Hearn held off Johnson, Bob McCready in the Syracuse Frame Service number 9 challenged all race long, but would drop out on lap number 49. And Billy Decker, you ask? Well, he was watching the race from a different perspective. He was uninjured in this wreck. Watch these two guys. With Hearn, Johnson, and Johnson up front, it was Kenny Tremont and Dave Lape battling for the 4th spot. Tremont searching for that small block spot in Syracuse. Lape decides the inside's better in turn 1, while Tremont decides the inside's better in 2. Dave says, hey, that inside groove looks great, so I'll try the inside again in turn 3. Great racing all night long in front of a stellar crowd. And still up front, Brett Hearn swept on to the $5,000 victory, his 11th of the year on the dirt circuit in the Freightliner number 6.
I paced myself a little bit, but the track was in great shape tonight, and we got a good break by winning our heat races starting up front, and we just had to, just keep thinking, and we came through.
You seemed to cool the tires a lot on the caution flags. Was there a tire problem?
Well, I felt that the tires were a little bit better when they were cool, but looking at the tires now, I really didn't have a problem. But they did seem to run a little bit better for a couple laps after I cooled them off, so we just kept doing that.
We were speaking to Jay, your radio man. He says he feels like he ran 89 laps.
He was talking to me every lap and keeping me informed on where my grooves were going and how they were looking. Sometimes it's hard to feel how fast you are when you go to the bottom or to the top or vice versa. And he can tell me, well, that's a good groove or that's a bad groove, and that helps me a bunch on the racetrack.
I'm really fortunate, like I said before, to have a good car, overhead door car, that be able to run. So, we're happy it's over with early, and now we can concentrate on some other things and maybe get our program going a little bit better in the big block.